out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks on.
Hey, welcome to a special episode of the Pullist Examiner. I'm going to participate in the Bearded and Cole's comic book challenge, and this time they have asked for submissions of independent comic book covers. And so I went through some of my old comics, some of my new comics, and came up with 10 covers, or maybe a few extra depending, because some are grouped together, but some independent comics. So let's start from a throwback here from a long time ago. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures, issue number 8. And give you guys a good zoom in here with the camera on these. So I really liked this as a kid, and I started collecting somewhere around issue like number 2 or 4, and I ended up going back and I did grab issue number 1, which is a good thing because it's one of the ones that is more collectible nowadays. But I really like the art on this one, and I don't think Eastman and Laird were really involved with these. Maybe they were, but I think it was more based on the cartoon that was popular at that time. So here you go, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures, issue number 8, and it's put out by the publisher Archie, which I believe qualifies as an independent. Next, I'm a huge Firefly fan, and there were several Serenity and Firefly series that were released under Dark Horse. Recently, Boom has picked up the rights to publishing that, and Greg Pak, prolific comic book writer, was tapped to do the Firefly series, and it was awesome. Recently, a new writer has taken over, and I think they're calling it the All New Firefly. But I was able to collect all of the series that Greg Pak wrote and went through and found these special painted covers. I actually, unfortunately, don't remember who the artist was on these, but it was really cool. They took characters from the show, and those characters from the show, if you can look, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, they actually are superimposed with constellations because they're out in outer space. I thought that was really nice artwork that they did on those special covers. There's a couple other characters, I just grabbed 2 of them, but I really like that. Honestly, there were a lot of good covers from the Firefly series I could have picked, but I really like that. So I think this is the 3rd, or number 3. I'm a huge Army of Darkness fan. I watched Army of Darkness, and many years ago caught on to the awesome horror slapstick that it is, and I really have liked some of the series that have been released by Dynamite, and this one in particular was a more recent series, but I thought it was a really cool cover. I don't know if you can see this or not. Hopefully you can. There we go. But it's an homage cover to Spider-Man number 16, which was a McFarlane cover drawing X-Force, which I actually keep a spare copy in with it, so you can actually see the homage there. And I thought that was pretty cool that they did that for Army of Darkness. They keep the humor in the stories just like the movies, slapstick, and it's pretty funny. Now, this is one, I believe it's Simon Bisley who did this many years ago. I'm actually not sure how I walked out of the comic shop with this as a kid, because it actually says "not for children" right on it. But this is the Grendel War Child miniseries. There was a Grendel series, I believe, written by Matt Wagner. I think this might be written by Matt Wagner. It's been many years since I've read it, but the covers, oh my goodness. The artwork on these were just absolutely amazing. More Dark Horse comics. That's Dark Horse. More Dark Horse comics. Another series I picked up when I was a kid, Predator, and this was the Big Game miniseries. This is issue number 1. I thought it was a pretty cool cover if you're a Predator fan. It's interesting how a lot of the independents end up picking up the big movies that get released and then continue the stories. I think that's a cool thing. Next, AWA Upshot. This is The Fourth Man, and this is issue number 4. I thought that was one of the cool covers. They released a 4-issue miniseries this past year, and if you've watched my show, you know I was a huge fan. This may actually be in my top 5 of the year. It is literally like watching a movie from the 90s. You can even see at the very top there, it's dated 1991 is the setting of the story. And it is a really amazing story. It's written by Jeff McComsey, and Mike Diodato does the artwork, and he has put information like in the back of the comics where he talks about how he picks out actors that he uses the likenesses of in the story. So it's literally like watching a 90s movie with 90s actors, so it's kind of fun. And the story in this was really awesome with some twists and turns. It's a murder mystery, and if you have not picked this up, I saw it came out in trade recently, and I would highly recommend picking up the story because it was fun. Cool cover too. Another thing I want to mention on the cover is they actually make it to look like a movie poster, and even with the movie poster they add fake wrinkles like if someone had folded it up. I just thought that was cool. Okay, from Vault Comics, this series I think was from last year. It was called Engine Ward, and I believe it's Joe Eisma did a series of covers. I think he did the internal artwork as well, but every single cover of every single issue is a gatefold cover, so 2 double-sided, and it's this close-up of one of the main characters from the story. Each issue revolved around what was essentially a quote-unquote god that the people were under control from or had to obey. This is set way in the future, and the society of people that exist have become oppressed by these people who claim to be gods. It was a very interesting story. I was glad I read it, and these covers are just cool. I did grab issue number 1. This was the first issue, so I could actually show you. I took it out of the bag so I could show you the gatefold on it. I mean, that's just kind of cool when you set all 10 covers together. Sorry, I got a lot of glare on there. There we go. When you set all 10 covers together, it is pretty cool how they look. Next, we've got Zach Kaplan, and this is going to be my last comic to show you. It's actually 3 comics in one. Zach Kaplan, it has become one of my favorite sci-fi writers, and I'm starting to buy some of the back issues from series that I've missed before. He has a series that's out right now called Breakout, and this is a cool cover where it shows all the main characters inside of a cube. The plot of this story is that these cubes show up on planet Earth, and these cubes have arrived to do something that no one knows, but what they are doing is they're abducting children, teenagers from the planet, and no one knows why yet, at least not in the issues I've read. So that's a really cool story by Zach Kaplan in a cool cover. It's also by Dark Horse Comics. And then also another very recent series just came out actually by Vault Comics. I think it's Vault, yep, is Mindset. Also Zach Kaplan. I thought this was a kind of a cool painted, I think this is the B cover, I don't think this is the A cover, but in this series people are starting to be controlled, like mind control, from an app that's been downloaded onto their cell phones. So that's kind of an interesting take. Sounds so much like a old Twilight Zone episode to me. So I thought it was a cool story. Waiting for issue 2 right now. And actually what got me reading Zach Kaplan was this series. I thought this was one of the cool covers. I think this is issue 5. Yep, issue number 5 of Join the Future by Zach Kaplan, and it's published by Aftershock Comics. So what was really cool about that series, it's another kind of post-apocalyptic futuristic setting, and it revolves around this girl whose family is killed as these monolithic cities move out into, I'm assuming, what is the futuristic United States, and are basically forcing people off their land and forcing them to move into the city where everything's free and you will be taken care of, but I think you also have to give up your privacy and probably a lot of your life decisions, because I think they were forcing people into certain careers. They don't really go into the details of the city, and I was actually hoping that the series would continue because it kind of left a lot of the backstory hanging and it just focused on this one beginning portion. It was almost like the first few episodes of a TV series that got dropped. Kind of disappointing because I really wanted to see it progress more. It was really a good series called Join the Future. So those are my independent comic titles that I picked out for this episode, this challenge that was put out by Bearded and Cole for independent comics. So thanks for watching.